Welcome. So I'm reintroducing my videos. I'm going to pick a few things that I had from the original videos, but I'll try and improve some of the concepts that I had. So to begin with, let's start with a slideshow where we'll just explain what we want to be working. So our introduction would be for C++, and C++ is a programming language whereby we want to get some of the following. Where did C++ come from? It came from C programming. What we'll be working with, we're working with a console application. We also want to know the basics of our syntax. We also can use this to make a simple program which will be on the console platform. Those are the basics of what our content would be. What do we need to start learning? So we don't need much. We just need the integrated development environment, understanding of the basic use of variables and libraries, control statements and objects, use of logic to manage our program. What is our integrated development environment? To be able to work with our programming, we need a platform that will compile our code and run commands and instructions that we want our program to execute. In the following, where we can have a program that we call Basics of Program Design, where we've got our variables, we learn how to initialize them, we run and execute the project using our IDE. The syntax and variables. So we also need to learn, whilst we are doing our project, what is a variable, what are the fundamentals of a variable, and how to use a variable. So we need to know the naming, the data type, initializing, the use, and the storage of our particular variable. At the same time, we then also need to know how we can control our program, whereby we might have a question. Let's say we've got our variable, we've created our variable. We now need to know where that variable leads us. So for example, if a number is positive, we do action 1, or if it's not positive, we do action 2. What should our program do? How can we manage a program as it executes? What can we do when a number or a value changes at a regular interval? A program and its use. Okay, and then in conclusion, we're then saying we should have covered most of these things. So that's for our PowerPoint presentation. Let's get into our code. So we want to get into code, and our code would be as follows. This is what we call our integrated development environment, whereby we'll be able to create our C++ project and be able to work with some of the concepts that we've got. So to begin with, we want to create a project. So just go to where it says create a new project. We select console application. That's the application we want to work with. We click on go. We go to next. We select C++. That's already selected. We click on next. We then put the title of our program, which we said is Basics of C Program Design. Okay, we need to have a path where we save this. So I've got my lesson and I want my lesson 1 to be there. We click on next, we click on finish. That way we've got our project. So as we were saying, this becomes our development environment where we want to develop and make use of our learning. So this is what I was referring to as a library, where we said include IO stream, which means there's a library called IO stream that does whatever it does. We've got using namespace standard, so we've got standard values that we'll be wanting to work with. We've got a function. This is a function. It's called int main. We've got our cout, which gives us end line, and end line is also like a reserved word, so it's cout. We've got our return 0. At the same time, we can then run our project, and then it gives us a hello world. So that then becomes the basics or the running of our given program. However, at the same time, we can go to where we have stored our lesson files, and then we've got the following. We've got our bin obj basics of program design main.c. So this main.c is where we're actually putting our code. So this is where our code runs. And then if we go to our bin debug and basics of program design, we should be able to run our program. Although I'm not sure why mine is not running. There should be a problem with my system somewhere. But if I run it through the program, I can actually be able to have this running. Let's see if I close it. Maybe it was running. Okay, it still doesn't work if I run it from that end. So we now need to get to explain some of the concepts that we were talking about. Part of the concepts would be as follows. We want to create a variable, and we need to know what each variable does. So with our variables, we can do the following. Let's do it together so that we get to learn. We can actually remove this line because for now we don't need it. We can have int, and then we have x. We put a semicolon. We can also have int, and then we have y, and then put a semicolon. This then means we've created a variable. So I can put a comment and state that this is a variable integer. We can also put a character variable, which can also be nm, right? So this is also a variable, and this is a character, like that. So what this then means now, we have created a variable. So as we are actually working with this, we are then working with creating our program. But if we run the program as it stands, it will not give us anything because we removed what was displaying, which was our cout and then hello world, including whatever elements we wanted to work with. So what this then means is we need to then start working with our program to give it more flesh or to give it more value. So at the same time, we can do the next process, which is called initialization. So I can put a comment and say initialize variables, like that, where I can then say x is equal to 7. I can also say y is equal to 5, like that. So it doesn't matter that I put x and y in the same line here. I put x and y in different lines in that particular section, simply because we can still be able to run our program because each line is read and denoted by the semicolon. So the semicolon marks the end of a particular line. The same goes, I can also put my nm and say my nm needs to have quotations, and I put h, like that. So what this then means now is we've got our variables x and y. We've also got our variable, which is nm, and we've initialized. So at this particular instance, we've actually initialized our variables, and we can get whatever values we hope to get from these given values. So, given that we've created our variables, we've also initialized them, we want to then view what each of our values is giving us. So we want to put our cout like we had previously, and our cout then gives us the following. It gives us x plus y equals, so we want to get the value of x and the value of y, and we add them. So we say x, we then put our plus, we then put our y, so that we get the value of x plus y. At the same time, we also want to get the value of nm. nm is equal to, we put our nm, we put our angle brackets, and we put an end line. So what this then means is we've created our output, whereby in this output we're saying cout gives us the display, and we want to display x plus y is equal to, and then we put the angle brackets to say x plus y, so that we get 7 plus 5, and then nm is equal to nm. All we are simply saying there is we want to be able to display the value of nm within our console. So if I run my program, I should be able to get the following, whereby we are saying x plus y is equal to 12, and then nm is equal to h, like that. So in essence, we have actually substituted everything by having our x being equal to 7, our 5 being equal to our y, and then 5 plus 7 gives us 12, nm being the variable that we have put as a character, and we display h as our final value, and then we are good to go. So we have also explained that we need to work with what are called control statements. In this particular instance of our learning, we don't get into our control statements. We'll gradually get to our control statements and be able to learn how we can use them and benefit from the content and the context of whatever it is that we are working with.